Ladies and gentlemen,
it is the new era, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wrestling is Cool, the coolest podcast on the planet, and I am taking over. Do you know why, Santiago, why I'm taking over the podcast? Because my boy, the one and only L.A. Knight, is your United States champion. Santi, your United States champion. I know you're Canadian. I know you're up there up north, but down south here, baby, right south of the border is a party because it is finally here. The glaze is real. A world record of glaze has hit the podcast, brother. That's right. LA Knight's champion. Doesn't it feel good? Doesn't it feel good to say? Doesn't it feel real? Because you know what's next? The IC title. That's right. You know what's next after that? The World Heavyweight Champion. And you know what's next after that, Santi? The undisputed LA Knight undisputed champion. First United States and then undisputed.
that was record timing. That was that was quite record literally time. 2 words into the podcast that the LA Knight Glaze Factory has reopened. It is back in business.
No. It has erupted. It is overflowing. It is almost a catastrophe.
You got the the little ducks in commercials that get covered in oil that you have to wash with Dawn dish soap. We have to clean the little ducklings of all the LA Knight Sancho glaze.
Yes. What a glorious day. And not a bad match, by the way.
It was. Okay, we're going to talk a lot more about that, but I do want to say, in my review, I said that I was pleasantly shocked at how good of a chemistry those two had. I was nervous about their chemistry because they're such different styles, but they meshed really well. There was the scary moment with what looked like a top rope brainbuster, but aside from that, like, those two were doing a beautiful dance in the ring. They really worked really well together. I want to see more of that. I want to see more LA Knight and Logan Paul.
We'll talk about that later. Or actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We can't have an overflow of glaze.
The glaze will definitely be taken over soon.
I could guarantee you someone's like, no, not this one.
This is not the episode for me. But folks, welcome to the Wrestling is Cool podcast, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. Before I was interrupted by Sancho and his glaze machine.
It wasn't rudely. It was justified.
You could be getting this episode 3 days early over on the Patreon at patreon.com/SantiZap, where you're going to get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early. You're going to get the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, and you're going to get 5 Wrestling is Cool Watch Club match-alongs of matches that you yourself get to vote on over on patreon.com/SantiZap. Check the description of wherever it is that you might be watching and or listening to this podcast. But SummerSlam has happened. SummerSlam has come and gone. And because it was SummerSlam, we're not even going to talk about wrestling for a little bit. Sancho, if there was a fictional serial killer, I'm talking about like the Jason Voorhees of the world, the Michael Myers of the world. If one of them was to turn babyface, which one would generate the biggest pop?
Dude, that is a valid question. Because you could say Freddy, but Freddy's
too heel. Too heel.
It's Jason.
You think Voorhees. It's Jason? Well, we kind of saw the Jason Voorhees babyface turn in Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason. Yes. Because you know why? Because you could actually kind of sympathize with Voorhees because of his mother. His mother, the one that treated him. You know, he was bullied as a camp counselor in the summer camps. You know, basically he drowned because the camp counselors ignored him. So there's some sympathy that you could use. You could use that face heat, that face fuel for Jason Voorhees. And he's silent. That goes always over well. You know, he's kind of like a PCO type vibe, a little bit. You're talking about the TNA, but I think you're right. I mean, he's already experienced that face turn in Freddy versus Jason, and people were excited when he got his hands on Freddy.
Can I throw out a different name out there because it's a revolving person under the mask? What about Ghostface from Scream? What if we got a Ghostface that all of a sudden only went after terrible people, but usually they already kind of do that in a lot of the Scream movies. It only goes after not some pretty unpleasant individuals.
I'm sorry. You say Ghostface, and for some reason, I just think of him as the luchador of the monster world.
No,
because there's like the son of Ghostface, and then he goes Ghostface Jr. because he has so many different people underneath the mask.
Mm-hmm.
How many Rey Mysterios have we had in our lifetime? Do we really know if that's the OG Rey?
Well, he's already Rey Mysterio Jr. So
yeah, but how do we know though?
I don't know.
Have you seen that dude got lawn dart before? Have you seen that dude got literally placed in a stretcher and just smashed against? How do we know we're like on Clone 5?
We're on a 5th Rey Mysterio. That'd be hilarious. We got to like a 2nd or 3rd Sin Cara.
Exactly. And by the way, when you did your intro, spoilers for Wolverine versus Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm waiting. You sounded like Gambit when you were like, "We appreciate you coming in for the bug. I don't follow you. Patreon in, man." You sounded like I almost choked on my chicken burger.
Dude, you know why I wanted to ask you about something not wrestling related, even though there's a wrestling podcast? Okay.
See, you're doing it again.
Hey, we're a wrestling podcast. Hey.
I'm gonna make a whole name of myself right now.
I was at SummerSlam and so many people came up to me about the podcast. First of all, asking about you, but then second of all, saying, I love when the podcast talks about anything that isn't wrestling. When we just go into the deep end over unnecessary things, ridiculous questions, ridiculous arguments. So thank you to everybody that, I got to meet in person, gave me that feedback. That's a, fan, listener of the show. You guys are awesome. For a day, I felt like a rock star, dude.
You are a rock star.
I am not. Okay? I like R&B at best.
In the world of wrestling, you are a budding rock star. You're like an Adam Rose.
See, you're not comparing me to the Adam Rose. The Rosebuds, baby.
Rosebuds.
I'm like a No Way Jose, at least.
How many champions were in the Rosebuds? We need to think about that.
There's a lot. There's that photo that exists of showing all of the different accomplishments of the Rosebuds, and none of them belong to Adam Rose.
Think about that. One thing I want to ask you, let's just jump point off of this right here. SummerSlam, you didn't want to go. You didn't want to go because I feel like as a content creator, you were obligated to make your reactions and things of that sort because that's what the people know you for.
Yes.
But you had the opportunity to go. You went. Thoughts? Any regrets on missing the reactions or the typical views and things of that sort? We'll start there.
I think there's always a little bit of fear with that, but I'm coming off the back of Monday Night Raw and doing my reactions to that, and my Twitch stream was healthier than it's ever been. So I would say that, in general, even if you take a little bit of a break, the ones that love you will always come back anyway. So I feel like that was a nice little reminder that the ones that are there to watch me for me are always going to come back regardless. They're all watch me. God, it's a midnight podcast, folks. We're recording really, really late. No, I wouldn't say I had regrets. I had fears for sure going to the show. I feel like a lot of those fears were definitely quelled by how good the show was and getting to see it live. That was truly fantastic. I was 7 rows camera side as well, so I got a beautiful view of an amazing show. But definitely the one really unique experience, which I think I could make an argument for it being awesome, but also not awesome, was how recognized I was. This is like the epitome of struggling from my success. Oh no.
Please. Poor Santi. It's because it took forever for you to get anywhere, didn't it?
It was exactly that. I was almost late to the actual show because I stopped every 5 steps for a photo, and somebody, whenever they want a photo, then people are like, who's that? And they're like, oh shit, that's the guy from YouTube or the guy from TikTok. And then now there's a lineup of 5 people that are waiting for a photo. So I was almost late to the show because of that. And even late to almost getting to my seat when the show was starting, because even just walking to my seat, it was happening. I couldn't go to the bathroom because I tried to go to the bathroom and then 30 people would try and get a photo. It got so funny. Dude, it was so funny to the point where like security is like, who are you?
Yeah.
I was like, I make wrestling YouTube videos. This is the only place that I'll matter. I'm not actually famous. I'm just known in wrestling. That's it. That's all. They to their credit, the staff at the Cleveland Browns Stadium, they're like, do you need help getting back to your seat? I'm like, no, like I'm here because I'm sponsored. So like I want to be, I want all of these pictures out there. I want the sponsor to know that like I was there in with the people, you know what I'm saying? I was there in the trenches.
Santi, dude, just going in there. Is that how it felt like? You were up there?
There were some moments where it definitely felt that way, but it was, this is going to be a tough thing to say. It was also, I think I've now realized that it's going to be really, really hard for me to go to a wrestling show for my own personal entertainment. I think it's going to be really hard. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Because it's really, really difficult to be able to enjoy the show. And I love the interactions. I love the photos and all that stuff. But when it was literally every 5 steps, it got a little bit overwhelming to the point where me going to a wrestling show, not sponsored, not for work, to try and just go for my own personal entertainment, I have a hard time seeing how I might be able to enjoy the full night without the constant interruptions.
How's that feel?
I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted about it. On the one hand, I love meeting the viewers. And the thing is that for me, that I tried to make sure that everyone that got to meet me wasn't just like a quick photo. Like I wanted to ask them, where are they from? Who do you think is winning these matches? I wanted to make sure that the meeting Santi wasn't, me trying to shoo them away. And I wanted for them to remember the interaction. So maybe it's on me, maybe not knowing how to handle that level of popularity at a wrestling show. So maybe it might be some inexperience there. But I also feel like that's just still the best thing to do. I want to give that experience to everyone that, one, recognizes me, and two, that gives time and love to the content that I create, the podcast. I want to make sure that they get the best possible experience getting to like that time getting to meet me. And I think it's worth sacrificing my own enjoyment of a wrestling show for that.
Right. I mean, I only have secondary experience to that. When I did a show with Nick A30 in Boston, we were there for a meet and greet. And it's interesting. He's the same kind of guy you are. He's like, I want to make, my priority is I make sure I make every single person happy. I want them to say it was worth coming out to see me, which is a little different because it's a meet and greet versus you just being out and about. No, man, I think if as long as you stay in that headspace and you never lose that, and your people know that where you're coming from, but there are times where you're gonna have to go and you got to get shooed away. But I think as long as you have that mentality going forward, I think you're gonna be a-okay, man. Like truthfully, it's when it's someone of this space that is respected and things of that sort. I mean, I don't think you could. You have a standard, right? Which I'm hearing from you, but I don't think you need to beat yourself up if one fan goes away. I mean, you could do your best, but I can't imagine what that would feel like. But what I always tell people that have the same questions as you do is just ask somebody that is in that same field, like that same level, right? I can't give you firsthand experience. I mean, I have been recognized in shows before, and my only tip that I always give is like, if it's awkward for both of you, like it is, it's awkward from the person you're meeting and the person that recognizes you. It's both awkward, and that never goes away. And you're just like, I don't know. I remember the first time I met somebody when I was a video game content creator. It was at wrestling. It was at the Staples Center at Monday Night Raw. And I felt some guy looking at me, and then I was just like, do they want a picture? Do I want a picture? Do you want a picture? Yeah. But my always tip is like, when you're ready to, when the conversation's dying down, just always go, hey man, you want a picture? And that always, it's a good way to end, and move on to the next person. Is like, hey, let's get a picture.
Yeah. What I was finding though, it was funny because I could tell that I would walk by and a lot of people would recognize me and not want to stop me or interrupt me, but then somebody would, and I would be immediately like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Are you excited for SummerSlam? Yeah, of course. Let's take the photo. And then that was almost like
the green light.
The green light for everybody. That's like, okay, now it's a lineup of people, and now this has become an impromptu meet and greet with Santi in the middle of the street, trying to walk towards the stadium. Again, really, really cool. I just have to, I think I just have to learn to be more mindful of my own personal time as well, to make sure that I can enjoy the show, that I can go take a piss. Because I just did it, bro. I did it.
Camel. You got a camel helmet, it did.
Yeah, I guess.
One of those little bags. Little Santi bag.
But I will say nobody gave me a negative vibe. Everybody that I met, and I think it was several hundreds, like triple digits. Yeah, triple digits of people that came up for photos, and just to come say hi. All of you were really, really cool. None of you threw oil on me. A couple of you guys made the oil jokes, and it's cool because like it's an inside joke within the community.
Sure.
A bunch of people asking for you, Sancho. The really, really cool ones were the ones that are like, I'm on the Patreon. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get it.
Yeah.
People with their signs. Everyone that I met was really, really cool, really down to earth, and made me feel special. So thank you for that. Really do. I know for a little while I was like almost like crying over the success. Oh no, woe is me. I really don't feel that way. It's just trying to internalize a new feeling is a new experience, can be a little bit difficult to try and put into words, but overall, like it's way more positive than it is negative. Trust me. I will happily piss my pants. I will happily piss my pants if it means meeting as many of you as possible at wrestling shows.
Now you know why. Now you know why I sit on the suite level, looking down at everybody,
looking down at the peasants taking photos with Santi.
I mean, you gotta, set that bar high. Because eventually there's going to be no restricted access. And that's when you could get through because who you are.
So how was your experience watching SummerSlam from home? Mine was crazy. I thought that the energy in that arena was out of this world. I was a little bit nervous about it with it being open air, but like it felt like, at the very least on my end, there was a buzz from beginning to end. I'm curious from your end, did that buzz translate on TV well? And what was your viewing experience like?
This SummerSlam was definitely a contender for PLE of the year. You could feel the energy from the Cleveland Browns Stadium. And that is awesome because you feel that the city of Cleveland has that vibe. It's an underdog type of town, hungry for, high elevated sports, so to speak. And when they were starting to win with Cleveland, you could kind of feel that same sense of like pride and like, hey, we're Cleveland, let's show out. And you heard them as better than Perth, a lot better than Perth, I would say. And it felt like it was an arena, how loud they were. I mean, they booed and cheered at the right times. They had chants for everything. They were engaged. I don't think anyone was sitting on their hands. The only time it felt like it was a downbeat was 2 times, was Nia and Bayley at the beginning and Cody and Solo at the beginning. So those were the only, I don't know if you felt the same.
I definitely felt that.
You felt that, right?
I felt like the crowd was hype for the last 5 minutes of Bayley. That came through. Bayley and Nia. Like I was on my feet, losing my mind in the last 5 minutes of how I felt like that finish was really, really good. And and I feel like that's just now the formula for Bloodline rules. Just a regular match. And then it just surprise after surprise after surprise after surprise. I feel like that's the formula of Bloodline rules.
Oh God. I was waiting for you to say that. I definitely want to talk about that in a bit. But the one thing I did interest was I felt that if I was live there, I would not enjoy as much as CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
I don't know how much. Yeah, I heard that it was much better with commentary.
Oh, it was beautiful. Because I don't know, did you hear any of them in the ring when they were yelling at each other?
No.
Oh my God, Santi. The things that CM Punk was yelling at Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins was yelling back was just, you should rewatch it, because there at one point CM Punk goes, "You are a worse referee than a wrestler," or something like that. And there's a moment where Seth is just berating CM Punk. It's like, "It's always about you. This is my company." He's just like, "It's my company. We don't want you here. You don't need to be here." And then when CM Punk hit him and he said something like along the lines, "It's not always about me, but it's never about you."
Oh, deadly.
Right? And you're just like, oh. There is a couple of things that, SummerSlam wise, but I want to keep it in the conversation to the IRL stuff because I feel I probably won't ever experience being that close to a PLE. When was the moment that it hit you like, dude, this is creeping into historical levels of SummerSlam greatness?
CM Punk's entrance. There was just a weird energy about CM Punk's entrance of everybody screaming it at the top of their lungs. It felt like we were seeing something that we weren't supposed to see. Like a weird alternate timeline of CM Punk, the good timeline. CM Punk never leaves the WWE and he's just here. It felt like, I don't know, forbidden fruit that we were getting to see a singles match entrance of CM Punk. That, to me, was the moment where, yes, everything before it was good. And then I hear CM Punk's music and I realize, oh man, we still have Punk and McIntyre. We still have Priest and Gunther. And we still have Bloodline rules. And I'm singing CM Punk's entrance theme about to pass out. I'm a pass out mode and there's still 3 matches left. That's when I was like, this is where we're on the cusp of a potentially legendary SummerSlam, because the show before, like everything before it, was already really, really good. I think you could make the argument and say, well, the matches weren't amazing. Maybe, but the booking decision within those matches were amazing. And booking will always trump in-ring work. It always will. Because you could have an amazing match and book the ending terribly or book the wrong person to win. And everything that happens from a technical standpoint will always just be thrown to the side and people will just say it's a terrible match. Booking is king. Booking is king. And that is where this SummerSlam, I think, will stand head and shoulders above maybe every show that I've seen over the past 20 years, Sancho. I don't think that... Hear me out for a second. Pound for pound, 7 matches versus 7 matches. All right? This SummerSlam is better than each individual night of WrestleMania. It is.
WrestleMania 40?
WrestleMania 40. Pound for pound. Just take the 7 matches of SummerSlam.
Wait, how many matches?
The 7 matches. Because both
7.
Stop it. It's not. Shut up, Sancho. We're not opening this can of worms. The 7 matches of SummerSlam versus the 7 matches of night 1 of WrestleMania 40.
It definitely beats night 1.
Okay.
100%.
And I think it beats night 2 pound for pound as well. As a whole PLE, as an entire PLE, WrestleMania is better when you combine the 2 nights together. But I think as a singular night, WrestleMania 40 night 2 was fantastic, but it was nowhere near as consistent as all of SummerSlam 2024.
I'm glad you said that, because that was something I wanted to talk to you about going into this. Is this the greatest PLE of definitely Triple H's era? It's arguably to be, but is it better than WrestleMania 40? Is the bigger question.
I don't think so. If you combine everything that WrestleMania 40 is, I think it would be an uphill battle to try and argue that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to change the rules of the argument and say pound for pound, right? Just seven matches, like the one night of SummerSlam versus any one night of WrestleMania. I think SummerSlam is better.
I can't imagine being at a PLE and then after match 4, and then having to go home. But I'm glad you realized, wow, you have 3 more matches to enjoy. Imagine that feeling of having
trying
to
bait so hard.
The PLE would have ended here. Dude, if I'm not going to bait you, I'm baiting someone in the comments. I'm getting somebody riled up. But no, it just shows you that, to agree with your point, the 7-match card was bolstered by every single match deserved to be on the card, because the payoffs, the booking, and all those things that you mentioned justified the 7 matches. There wasn't any of those 7 matches you felt like they should not have been on the card. The only argument that I would have to have a counterpoint to yours about WrestleMania 40 is that SummerSlam main event felt like a replay of WrestleMania 40 night 2. And
I think that was by design, though.
It was by design, but it still felt strange. It felt like, you mentioned a timeline that we're not supposed to experience. It felt like a multiverse timeline of instead of Roman Reigns, it's Solo Sikoa. And the biggest issue of Solo Sikoa Bloodline rules match is Solo Sikoa is not charismatic enough.
Oh, I think Sancho's power just went out. His light is off. Yeah, I think we've lost Sancho. Yeah, I think our friend Sancho has had a power outage. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get him back on the show soon.
Hey, sorry about that. As I was saying, Solo Sikoa, I feel the issues with that match, if you had to pound for pound compare the two, is that Solo Sikoa is just not charismatic enough as Roman, and it just felt, you could really feel Bloodline matches are always sluggish and slow, but you felt it more solo.
Okay, so here's my question to you. Do you think that it would have been better if the shocks were more shocking? Because, dude, obviously you can expect Timu Bloodline to show up, Tamatanga and Tangaloa.
Don't do that.
And Jacob Fatu.
That's a good sign.
But it is a little bit underwhelming that the two guys that have been consistently part of this story, that have been consistently destroyed by the Bloodline, are the shock that I felt was a bit underwhelming, considering you had Arn Anderson talking about how he still has some pullbacks. It's like, what? And then all of a sudden it's just the two same guys that have been part of the storyline the entire time. It definitely felt like, I will say, using the term Timu Bloodline, this felt like Timu Bloodline rules. Compared to the WrestleMania 41, where you have Cena, Shield, Rollins, The Undertaker, The Rock, like the names that were in this prior to Roman coming out just do not obviously hold a candle to the shocks that we had at WrestleMania 40.
Okay, yes, based on the amount that they've been seen and used in previous weekly television, I would agree with you. I mean, Randy, of course, is that caliber of guy, but the only difference is Jacob Fatu. I mean, Jacob Fatu did a Whisper in the Wind, for crying out loud. Like, how did it feel to see Jacob Fatu in person?
That was awesome. Jacob Fatu in person, you can just, that man's a freak. He's a freak of nature.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that it just felt like a repeat. And like I mentioned, it did feel like you were watching the Fox universe of Marvel.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right? Still good. Still, like, it's fine, but it ain't Marvel MCU. And that hit different. But that's the only, like, it was so weird to do the watch party, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, this Solo and Cody match ain't hitting right now. But it's just because it's Bloodline rules. I'm waiting for the end.
Yeah. And do you think that's going to be the formula now of Bloodline rules?
Please stop doing Bloodline rules. It makes no sense. It is probably one of the worst gimmicks in a long time. Because Bloodline, what are they? They've only won once, right? Was it on Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn?
Was that Bloodline rules?
Yeah, it wasn't like a solo. You remember?
Did that match happen?
I think so. When Rock was like, "You're not fighting me. You're not fighting Rome. You're fighting Solo." And Bloodline rules, to get the people to understand what Bloodline rules means.
Oh, I think you might be right. Honestly, I don't even remember. I don't even remember.
WrestleMania 40 Night 1 wasn't officially Bloodline rules, but The Rock was like, "I'm gonna fire you if you count him out."
That felt like a better, like,
right?
I know, like what Bloodline rules should be.
Right. It not like this cameo fest. Do you have anything else you want to say about Solo and Cody, or do you want to go back to the beginning, then come back to Solo?
Yeah, no,
and
let's
Cody
go back. Let's go back to the beginning, because I definitely want to talk about my reaction and what the energy was for when Roman came out, but I think we should go kind of more in order.
Yeah, save that for the end.
Yeah, we can talk about Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I'm curious how that played out on TV. I'll tell you right now on my end, the ending chair spot, the Oblivion on the chair, I thought that it was incidental, that the chair was just there all along. And that it was just happenstance that the Oblivion happened to be on the chair. I'm assuming on TV it was slid?
It was slid in. You can see that. But to be fair, Dominic's interferences going all the way to Saudi have been kind of like not as clean. Remember when he slid the chair in and the ref saw it too? Yeah. So, but continue.
I will say, I feel like the WWE did a really great job of masking Dominic's intentions throughout the match. when he interfered, you can make the argument either or, that he was helping Liv or Rhea. When he stopped Rhea from using the chair, you could say he was helping Liv, preventing her from getting damaged by the chair, or helping Rhea, preventing her from getting herself disqualified and not being able to get the title back. So even when he got involved, which we knew he always would, they did a really good job of masking where his allegiances would lie, even in his interferences, to the point where it was a shock to me at the end to see him macking on Liv Morgan.
Did you feel that I was mentioning this with the watch party, is that it was a lot of shoulder spots everywhere in SummerSlam, a lot of ring posts. Almost every match had someone going through the ring post. My favorite spot, you know that Santi.
You love it.
I love it. Did you feel the energy when Rhea relocated her shoulder? Did that go for you?
It worked for us. It worked for us in the crowd, where there was a contingency of people chanting "Holy shit" at that moment.
I liked it the first time. The second time, it was like, all right, we get it.
So the one that I was able to see was the one where she ran herself into it. I wasn't able to see the one where she was like did it herself. But I mean, it worked for me. It worked for me.
So to go back to our podcast that we had previewing SummerSlam, I said that I was more interested in the outside factors of the ring, or like the fallout of the match versus the matches themselves. And I think you could kind of see like there was some good work in that ring for sure, like you said a little bit earlier ago, but the fallout for every single result was amazing. And I think that has definitely have to be a big like payoff to Triple H, because we always kind of, you know, the baby steps of Triple H. So when there is a big drastic move or the end of a story, it feels monumental. And I don't mean like, and that's when I say like, not everything needs a monumental ending. And again, you're not allowed on this Karrion Kross, Xavier Woods bandwagon. You're not allowed on this bandwagon, brother. I know. Did you see who they added? Odyssey Jones.
Who?
You're not allowed. I know you're just egging to get on this train, brother.
Nobody wants to be on the train.
It's being built. You've seen it
for like 9 weeks, bro. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
And you know what? SummerSlam should have used Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods.
No. Oh no, you didn't. Oh, you do not mean that. You do not mean that Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross should have been on SummerSlam. Sancho, your power should go out again after that one. You should lose all power and internet now for that statement.
With the Odyssey Jones main roster debut at SummerSlam? Hello?
No, that wouldn't have hit.
The dude double.
That was sick for Raw.
Slam?
For Raw. It was sick for Raw. Stop trying to change an already perfect PLE with your crappy booking.
Stop trying to gatekeep PLEs, dude. What's wrong with you? Who made you the gatekeeper of PLEs? This shall be on the PLE. This shall not be on the PLE. This doesn't deserve a PLE, you Wizard of Oz.
Sancho, it's well past midnight. I can't get into this conversation with you because I will take us down this path again. And there's already people. You've seen the comments, right? Oh my God! Stop with the argument of the PLE match. And Sancho, you know what happens whenever you comment that? Sancho laughs and he triples down.
I go, hey, I'm all in, partner. Just shove all the chips in. You know, like I'm the kind of guy, when I play Texas Hold'em, I'm the worst person to play against.
Why?
You know, I smile the whole time. I crack jokes. I go all in when it doesn't make sense. I'm annoying.
And does it ever work?
Sometimes. But isn't that... Who wins in Texas Hold'em? Do you?
I don't play Texas Hold'em.
You never played Texas Hold'em?
No, I mean, like, I've played it before, but it's not like something that I routinely play. I played a bunch of the card game on Red Dead Redemption 2, though. Great game. You played it? It's a midnight podcast, folks. It's weird. It's so late. It's so late.
You ever thought about doing roleplay?
The like roleplay on Red Dead Redemption 2? Here's the thing, I would, but every time I try to do a Western accent, it always just turns into Hulk Hogan, brother.
Oh God! Why?
I don't know.
He's not even a cowboy. He's not even a cowboy.
Pull out your 6-shooter, brother. At high noon, brother. That's not going to work for me. No way. Did his power actually go out again? I think it did. And he's back. Sancho, do you see what happens? Do you see what happens when you tried to add bum-ass Karrion Kross versus Xavier Woods to my perfect SummerSlam match card? The power company says, nah, enough with your terrible booking. Stop ruining Santi's perfect SummerSlam experience with your terrible matches. You lost your power again, didn't you? What were we talking about, man? This is such a shit show of an episode. We were talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. We got to talk about SummerSlam. All right. Okay, let's go back to Logan Paul and LA Knight. What a surprisingly good match that was. Like, in terms of the chemistry between these two, I just wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near as good as it ultimately was. I thought that LA Knight's style would just not blend well with Logan Paul's. I thought that this feud was going to be predominantly driven by promos, which it was, but the match wasn't anything to scoff at. I think that it was a really, really good match. One of Logan Paul's better match, and I think that was LA Knight's best match of his main roster run, in my opinion. At least the most entertaining one that I've seen.
I feel that a lot of people are not going to understand how much, and this is not glazing, how much of LA Knight calling the ring action. It's a different kind of match that Logan was in. And it's because it's not as drawn out. It didn't feel as planned out. It felt like LA Knight was telling Logan to slow down in some parts, play to the crowd a little bit more. And I knew that that would be the biggest benefit of working with LA Knight. And I thought that that would be the bigger benefit of working with Randy Orton when it was Logan and Randy. And I thought that they would have that kind of chemistry too. But for some reason, when LA Knight and Logan Paul went at it, I just enjoyed the simplicity of it. And because it was simplistic, it made Logan's spots 1,000 times better.
I think there's something to what you're saying there. What are your thoughts on, obviously, I'm sure you're happy about LA Knight winning, but what are your thoughts on where they're going to take this? Because I'm of the mind that I'd like to see a sequel of this. I think that it was good enough.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to see them continue this. At least one more match, hopefully a Bash in Berlin. If not Bash in Berlin, then maybe Bad Blood. It's just, I look at the landscape of SmackDown, right? And like, what mid-cards have been getting a chance on TV that aren't Carmelo Hayes and Andrade? Those are the only two that they've had any sort of time to develop. So it would be by default Carmelo Hayes or Andrade that I think LA Knight should be going up against for the United States Championship. But that right now, especially with how good the Logan Paul match was, seems a lot less appetizing, in my opinion. Which is why I'd like for them to dip their toes in the waters of Logan Paul for one more PLE cycle, to allow the other members of the mid-card to develop into credible feuds for LA Knight.
It's interesting when Logan Paul, he posted, did you see his post of him? He posted missing his belt. It was when I'll see you again. And a long day. And he had like a montage of him with the belt. I think there is money in Logan and LA Knight. Bash at Berlin seems to be quickly forming right before our eyes because they don't have a lot of time. Already that card feels like it's a big event to witness. I think the LA Knight thing, the only concern I had when you talk about what happens if LA Knight won is like, who's going to be that guy that solidifies his championship? Who's going to be that guy that is his rival? Who's going to be the guy that is going to be the Shawn Michaels and the Razor, right? Because that's what you kind of need him to bounce off of. Like we mentioned, Trick Williams not having that person right at the onset kind of put him in a weird limbo for a while. And I think that's what we're going to get. We're going to get LA Knight in a weird limbo. It's not going to be John Cena, United States champion. Let me go ahead and have an open challenge and someone just randomly walks out, because that's not what LA Knight is, right? So it's hard to say. I think it's interesting. There is rumors that they did draft trade two people of Jimmy or Jay and Sammy and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller went to Monday Night Raw, which sucks because those are two heels, Waller and Theory, that could definitely have a good program with LA Knight. So I think a lot of people are going to say on the onset that LA Knight being the champion is going to be a downgrade compared to Logan Paul because LA Knight doesn't have anyone to fight.
That and I think that's not an LA Knight problem. It's a SmackDown problem. I feel like SmackDown.
I mean, he's what has Legato.
I think it would. I bet you the first feud is probably like Santos Escobar. It's probably Santos Escobar.
I hate that though.
I hate that too, especially because look, I feel like they tried like really hard with Santos. I don't think that this is a situation where they didn't give him a chance. Like that heel turn that they booked for him was amazing. The heel turn on Rey Mysterio, I thought was one of the best executed heel turns of 2023, and they were just not able to run with it. They were not able to make something interesting of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not particularly interested in seeing LA Knight versus Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. I feel like that's a major downgrade for the United States Championship. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the Intercontinental Championship picture, and it's still healthy. You know, once Sami Zayn leaves it, you've got Ilya Dragunov ready to go. They've been doing a good job of developing him. Ludwig Kaiser is back. Sheamus, if they want to use him in there. Pete Dunne, if they want to use him in there. Mm-hmm. But the United States Championship, that division right now, I think it's cause for concern with Logan Paul not being there.
Sorry, my mic was hot when we came back from the power, so I had to turn it down a little bit. No, I agree with you. And the bummer about it, if you have to think about it, was Logan's reign good or bad? When it comes to, he only had 2 title defenses, and you and I speculated that Logan will bring prestige to the title in terms of celebrity, in terms of getting it out there more than Rey. But we're seeing the major consequence of giving it to a part-timer, and that's not like a negative way of saying just by happenstance. A part-timer, giving him the Roman Reigns schedule, has resulted in a non-developed mid-card.
A non-developed mid-card. I think that's the best way to put it, actually.
What, do you think AJ is going to be the next one?
AJ LA Knight, we've already seen that story, man. We've seen that song and dance. Do you know what I'd be more interested in is if WWE had the balls to let TNA come into SmackDown as well.
That's what I said.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Great.
Eli Drake, LA Knight, obviously that big history. Ooh, dude, get Speedball in there. You know, we had Mustafa Ali doing the whole, he's America's champion in the X division, trying to go up against LA Knight. I feel like that would be a great way.
On SmackDown or on TNA?
I think both. Why not? I feel like both is the play there, but I don't think that we would get that. I think that the TNA partnership is going to be strictly a SmackDown, an NXT thing. But that to me is like the quick solution. And a quick solution, here's the thing though, a quick solution is not the long-term fix, right? So what is the long-term fix for this United States Championship? I think step 1 is a champion that's there every week. So we got that, check.
Yeah.
And then step 2,
get a box.
How do we do that? How do we cut the hole in the box, bro?
Yeah, you gotta cut the hole in the box, because then the third step is put that junk in that box. Make it a floating championship. Pretty simple.
But you can't. Well, not. Well,
I know the IC. Yeah. I know people are in the comments like IC the Raw belt and SmackDown United States. But
our viewers do not sound like that.
Yeah, thank you when I read it. No, I think like when you that's the problem. Just let it float for a little bit, or let other drafty like Raw people come over. I mean, what's the harm in that? What's the harm of a Sheamus or someone coming over for a little bit for a program?
Well, that's what we're doing with Gunther and Randy Orton, at least at first glance.
Exactly. I think again the brand split just puts so much pressure on people who are not ready. Like the mid card's underdeveloped. And now you're telling me it has to be on the main event for SmackDown, and then it's going to make my boy look bad. Look what they did to my boy. They gave him the belt, and he has no one to fight.
Well, we'll see. At the very least, like I said, it's step 1 to help rehab this division, to have a champion that's there all the time.
We got the box.
We got it. We've got it.
We got the box.
let's talk about the women's championship. Nia Jax versus Bayley. I want your
Sleeper
thoughts on
match.
this because I was certain that this was going to be the worst match of the night, that it was going to be boring. It was actually the match I was trying to go to the bathroom before. And I was like, I'm okay if I miss the first little bit. I wasn't able to make it to the bathroom. Thank you for stopping me for all the photos. That last 7 minutes of that match.
Did you just hear yourself? Thank you for stopping me for all the photos.
The last 7 minutes of that match was rad. I loved Bayley versus Nia Jax. I thought it was underrated how good it was.
Yes. It's one of those ones where if you're buying liquor at a store and someone's gonna say Nia versus Bayley, Google it. One of the best matches ever. It was violent and it was scary. And I was at the end of it, I was like, man, I'm afraid for Nia. Like Nia kick into a whole other gear that I didn't know she had in her. And Bayley, even when Bayley did her walkout powerbomb,
dude, there was a roar, a vibration in the arena when she was walking with Nia Jax. It was a buzz that just kept getting bigger and bigger with every step. It was such a cool moment.
They gave you goosebumps?
Yeah, it actually did. It did. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then to go from what was the feeling when Tiffany's music hit?
That I wasn't buying it. I wasn't buying it. Here's the thing. Okay, so I had this little kid beside me.
Yeah.
And, dude, I'm such a mark. He's like, is she cashing in? And I was like, nah, it's a fake. It's a fake. She's faking it. I don't think that she's gonna cash in. And she's like, and the little kid goes, why do you think that? I was like, that briefcase needs to sell merch. This little 6-year-old boy. That being a mark.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I wasn't being mean to him. I was being giving my opinion. It's funny that I was giving my mark opinion.
You put your hand in his face and you're like, shut up, I'm
idiot.
You were there with your 2 cameras. I'm trying to record this. I'm trying to capture content. I saw your ass. I saw you ringside. You had 5 cameras coming out of you, dude. Good Lord. Looking like a referee out there.
I was
Where's your little ref?
I was with friggin' 5 cameras. Bro, they did not
blowing him out of the way.
They did not pat me down at all. I came in with 10 pounds of equipment in my pockets, and they looked at me. They're like, all right, come on in. I could have had anything in there.
You're a big guy.
Yeah. Anyways.
What do you want? A sign don't let this man in this building?
No, but I obviously the mark in me wasn't buying the Tiffany Stratton cash in, but I still popped for it. It was still awesome.
It's Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time. Is that song growing on you?
It always was good to me.
Was it? Oh, I didn't like it at the beginning.
You know what? Bronze music is growing on me.
Well, the current one's good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's an upgrade. But yeah, I thought this match ruled. I thought it was fantastic.
The pop-up powerbomb on Bayley, she needs to add. Nia needs to do that more.
Yeah, if Kevin Owens isn't going to use it.
And then the jackknife powerbomb she did was amazing. Kevin Nash-esque.
Mm.
And then the double annihilator.
Oh, so good, man. So good.
Brutal. And I just sat there and be like, man, her second run, this is her this is it. I know she won the Queen of the Ring, but this is her crowning achievement right here. This is the one that she could tell her kids about for the rest of the days, when grandma used to wrestle. Here's a video of grandma.
There's just me in the background with 5 cameras.
I saw you with 2 cameras. I'm like, hey man, my man grinded, dude. My man has to grind. Was any of that footage usable?
Yeah.
I always hate when I vlog and footage doesn't materialize.
Oh yeah, we'll get all the reactions up soon enough.
Okay. Oh, cool. Right on. But yeah, I think that was my match that I was. Let's be real. The buildup wasn't there. The buildup wasn't. Everything. It's interesting because the WWE has the ability to use everything that they have weekly television, and then when they make their video, it works. When they put it in the montage and the vignettes and the package, you're like, oh, that interview that they had that seemingly wasn't that great on Raw or on SmackDown, it actually worked in the video package. So it's kind of like a thing. Like, yeah, they recorded the content, and it wasn't great live, but before the actual bout, it actually works really well. But it's one of those ones that if you were looking at the card in the past, you'd be like, yeah, that card, this match is not going to do well. But I would argue it's one of the best ones, honestly.
Yeah. No, I in my review, I gave it an emphatic thumbs up. A lot of people were just mad about Nia Jax being champion. I was
they gotta let that. They gotta let that go.
You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
Nia go. You gotta let Nia go because, it's unfair. She's worked hard and she's better. That's just period. She's just a lot better. Sure, she might have a little oopsie daisy every now and then, but and I know people think like she hurts people, but I haven't seen any inkling of that. And Lyra's fine. Lyra took that nasty one, so she's okay. Just on Monday Night Raw, we saw Bronson Reed land 6 times on somebody.
Yeah.
Dude, when that happened, I remember when Bronson Reed came out, I was like, Bronson Reed, come on. You could have picked anyone else for Seth Rollins.
How awesome was it, though? That was like, okay, Bronson Reed, welcome to... I think Bronson Reed right now is going to get his Damian Priest moment, his make or break, right? Damian Priest, they're like, here's the briefcase. Time to prove it for the next several months that you can be a main event guy. And he did, got the championship. And even in the championship, he was still in prove it mode, right? Right. I feel like this is Bronson's prove it mode. Let's put you in a main event scene. Whether it's for one PLE cycle or multiple, and prove that we can keep you here for the foreseeable future. And that was a great start. I think that this is the biggest moment of Bronson Reed's career so far.
Would you say it was like a tsunami?
Oh, buddy, it was like 6 tsunamis. That's what it was. What? Oh, man, that was crazy.
An onslaught. All right, what were we talking about? Braun versus Santi.
Yes, let's talk. I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your opinion on this.
That to me was interesting because we've seen so much of it, right? Yeah. We saw so much of it leading up to it. And I feel like it was the greatest hits of everything that happened on weekly television. Mm-hmm. But for Sami to lose clean, I felt that was more of a disservice to everything they built up because I know people love to joke about Sammy Hogan, but it didn't feel that Braun beat Sammy Hogan. Does that make sense?
You and I are on the same page here. Okay. So my thoughts on this were that I think the match length was correct. I think you could get away with a 5-minute match because you're trying to show that Bron Breakker is this badass that could beat a veteran like Sami Zayn quickly in 5 minutes. The problem is that you didn't do a destruction in those 5 minutes. You just had a regular, like you said, greatest hit match in those 5 minutes. I needed Bron Breakker to put Sami through a table. I needed Bron Breakker to spear Sami through the barricade. I needed Bron Breakker to spear him through the metal steps. I needed the Bron Breakker that they've been advertising on Raw to show up on PLEs, which is something that we didn't see for Money in the Bank. And I actually don't think that we saw it for this either. All they did was the match time brought it down. And it's like, okay, well, the match, it being short, does add to the badassery, but I think that Bron Breakker is in this weird situation where the advertised bill of goods on Raw is never the same product on PLEs. They let him destroy people on Raw, but then they don't let him do that same thing on PLEs. And that's odd to me, especially if you were going to let him win and you were going to give him a win in 5 minutes. I think it needed to be a destruction, not just a 5-minute match.
It kind of felt like the opposite of a Logan Paul, where you didn't expect him to perform at PLE and Logan delivers in the PLE. It could be just a matter of the way they book him on a PLE, not necessarily his performance, because as you can see, he could do it.
No, it's not his performance. I think it's booking.
But what they should have done was just took what they did to Ilya before SummerSlam and did that to Sammy.
Yeah.
And you would have bought like, oh my God, this match stopped.
You see what I mean, though? Like the things he does on Raw. Finish. The things that he does on Raw never translate to PLEs. It's weird.
Yeah, they have to fix that.
Mm-hmm. But
Because then
I think it's the right result, though.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we nailed it. We're saying he's gonna lose, and then they're gonna eject him into the bloodline
Yes.
because he's already partying up with Jay. I mean, it's gonna be great. And I feel that it's the best Sammy. I did not like Sammy Hogan, and Sammy Hogan was too hokey. He just was. He just was like, he was too much of himself.
Do you want this cup, Sancho? Do you think
I
that?
don't.
Do you want this cup more than I do?
Sucks.
Because you're gonna have to get this cup over my dead body, Sancho.
Oh,
I know you
absolutely.
have it in you,
Chargers suck.
Sancho. I know you have it in you to take this cup away from me.
27-1 or 3?
Okay, stop. All right. It's just a cup metaphor. Now you don't have to roast my Chargers.
They roast themselves, dude. God, what a lame organization. You guys were great in San Diego. Had to go to LA. Boo. Qualcomm Stadium deserves more.
Okay.
Than its rat nest that it is. Oh, did I touch the nerve? Santi?
You did. Because the whole reason I was a San Diego Chargers fan is because it was the team that sounded the most like my name. Santiago, San Diego. When I was a little kid. Come on, that's a better reason than a lot of kids have. I'm not American, so I didn't have a city to root for. So when I was a kid, I was like, San Diego, Santiago, that's my team. And then they moved out of San Diego, and now they're in freaking LA, and it took like my whole shtick.
I'm just picturing you in the bookcase right now. No!
No! Not to LA! No!
Good name. You're such a stupid kid. Oh.
Screw you. I was 6, man.
Screw you. You treated that 6-year-old. You ruined them. It's because they're selling merch. Get out of my way, kid. I need to record content. Come on through. Oh, my Patreon. Give me your $5. What you were doing. Santiago, San Diego. They sound nothing alike.
They did the closest. All right, it's the closest. It's a good enough reason, man.
Oh, good thing your name wasn't Phallus, because you would like Dallas Cowboys. Oh,
anyway, it's a midnight podcast, folks.
It's Triple H so far. SummerSlam's right result.
But did we see what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, if this had been an amazing match, but then Sammy won, we would have been like, ugh. This was an okay match. But then Bron won, so we're like, hey, so booking is king. Story is king.
You're right. And, there's a great story brewing.
Tell me about your experience of... Tell me about your... No. Final Testament is not a good story brewing. Odyssey Jones doesn't make this a WrestleMania headliner. All right? Stop trying...
get you. The bait's out, brother.
Tell me about your experience watching Drew Punk, because I feel like your experience is far more valuable than mine here, because I did not watch it on TV.
I felt like that was a match that belonged in the Thunderdome, actually. But as someone that did not watch CM Punk, that did not watch CM Punk in his prime, only see him as AEW, and we talked about this in predictions, I feel the CM Punk that I saw was a master of ring psychology. And we said that he had to show out, and we said that can his body hold up? And I think the way he sold was so different. He just looked like he was, I don't know, like he was dead, like in the middle of the ring, like not even moving most of the time in the fetal position. But what I loved about CM Punk matches is that he draws you in, and he drew you in. The only thing I did not like, and I love the back and forth, was that it was about a bracelet. Now I know a fan made that bracelet, and I know that that's kind of cool and it's special, but it didn't. If the WWE made it much more impactful, that it means to him, like maybe he's like on a call and he misses AJ, or maybe he misses Larry, and maybe CM Punk is more yearning to be with his family, and the bracelet made him happy, or if AJ gave him the bracelet, some of the little things to put all that power into the bracelet, because in the match, he's like, he has in the Endicon device, and you're like, sick. And then he literally stops because he sees the bracelet and he drops the move. Like, it's like, you need to convince me that CM Punk is controlled by this bracelet or blinded by this bracelet to put aside his hate for Drew. Does that make sense?
Sure, it does. So
It's a weird thing to introduce into a CM Punk match.
I think that's fair. I think that actually is fair criticism. It was a bit odd and jarring seeing it from our end. Yeah,
right, because you didn't see the close-ups.
We don't see the close-ups. It wasn't until he actually like took the bracelet off that we realized, oh, he was trying to take the bracelet off. Like, so it was a little bit weird. I feel like I still really like the Drew and Punk match, like my experience. But I feel like in this scenario, we the people in the audience, we were a prop to enhance the experience of people watching at home. I feel like we were a live studio audience, and that they weren't there to entertain us; they were there to entertain the people at home. And I feel like that's nuanced. I feel like that's the case with like Raws and SmackDowns usually. In my experience going to PLEs is that they try to play to both the crowd and to the people watching at home. But with such an important critical plot device like this bracelet, it didn't play well for the people in the arena. It only played well to the people watching at home, I think.
100%. I mean, they had great cinematic cameras. When Seth Rollins missed his 3 count after the first GTS, it cuts right to CM Punk perfectly, and then it cuts right back to Seth Rollins perfectly, and everything was awesome, dude. The bracelet was in the foreground of it. You could see it, that it's the main focus of CM Punk the first time he looks at it. I'm sure all those things he missed, and that was my first thought when I was like, oh yeah, Santi's there. I'm sure he's missing all this great dialogue. It kind of reminds me how sometimes a commentator could take that match over the edge for you. That's why when I was in my WrestleMania 39 suites, I was like, I'm sure I'm missing something out. But I always go back and I watch immediately when I go home. I watch the
you
replay.
do that. I don't. I don't.
I watch the replay. Why? Because you don't want to ruin the experience?
Yeah, I don't want to ruin my personal experience that I had. But I feel like that particular match, I'm going to go back and watch.
I think like you miss out on a whole bunch more. And the animosity for Seth Rollins and CM Punk, because I saw your tweet, you're like, I'll see you WrestleMania 41. They definitely set that up so beautifully, but without their dialogue, I'm sure you missed out. You missed out on. It's kind of like it's like, yeah, you can watch Deadpool and Wolverine, but if you haven't watched any of the movies prior to that in terms of the Fox universe, you're gonna like, who cares about if this person's here? That type of vibe.
It's like finishing an open. It's like finishing an open world game and only doing the main story missions. Not doing any of the side quests.
It's like being up by a certain amount of points and you still lose at the end.
Okay. Well, are we gonna keep sharing? Like keep going back and forth on analogies?
It's like
a hot dog, but instead of using the relish, you only use the mustard.
Dude. I went to the movies a couple of days ago, all right? And I got myself a glizzy. And after I ordered it, I asked, and it's in my hand. I go, do you have mustard and relish? And they go, oh, we ran out.
So you know exactly what that analogy was all about. You understand
I should have been informed of this before I ordered this glizzy.
It's like ordering a hamburger and all they have is a hot dog bun.
Not going to lie. I'm going to put you in on this. Hamburger bun on a hot dog, fire.
Huh.
There's more wiener for the bun. Like, you know what I mean? So you get the taste of the wiener more than the bun itself. And it's the perfect amount. And if you ever run out of hot dog buns, grab a hamburger bun. Perfect. I'm telling you, dude. Telling you.
So if you want more wiener.
Yeah.
More is it because of like the wiener per bun ratio?
Yeah. You get more wiener first, and then you taste all the condiments first that doesn't get absorbed by the bread. It like sits on the wiener. So you taste the saltiness, you taste the meatiness, the juiciness, and then you taste a little bit of that bread. The bread, for some reason, it's a different kind of soakage compared to a hot dog bun.
It is definitely less soakage.
Because when you spread a hamburger bun with mustard, the mustard doesn't get absorbed into the bread. It stays on the lid. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit more starch.
What is this episode?
Am I breaking you?
What is this episode? We just spent 4 minutes on hot dog hack.
Oh, fine. Let's compare it to whatever. Bron Breaker. Bron Breaker is like a hot dog with less bun compared to Goldberg, which is too much bun.
Is that what you think?
Goldberg's ass. Hey, I brought it back to wrestling. All right, next match. Come on, next match.
Gunther versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was the best match live out of all of them.
I can feel that.
Yeah, because you could hear at least I had 7th row seats on the floor. Hoi, 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 hoi. With my 5 cameras trying to film everything. I felt like Dr. Ock from Spider-Man with all the different devices hanging off of me.
I'm surprised you didn't get glasses with the camera.
Out of all the matches, this was, I feel like, the best for the in-crowd experience. The chops were so loud. The punches were so loud. These guys were like screaming at each other. It felt like I was watching a fight. It felt like I was watching a dramatic UFC bout rather than just like a wrestling match. This match rocked my socks from a live experience.
When I got into the match when Damian cut Gunther, because it reminded me of Rocky IV. And they're like, you see, he's not a machine. He's a man. He could bleed. And he's just bleeding from the nips.
Not crazy? Chopped so hard he was bleeding.
Jeez. It was great. It was definitely a car wreck and reminded me of Gunther versus Damian and Gunther versus Drew and Sheamus.
Yeah.
That kind of like, ooh, this is gonna be good. Yeah. But it's funny when Finn came out and Finn was like hitting the mat, I was like, oh no. My man acting like he cares.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So we saw the backstage segment where Finn says to Damian, just give me the signal and I'll come out. Did Priest give a signal in the match?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I was curious if maybe this was something I didn't see on TV.
Well, the only thing I picked up from that little backstage segment, which I think PLE should have more of, by the way. I think it kind of, the framing of it makes it feel like familiar in terms of weekly television. So when they did the Judgment Day backstage, and he said, "I'm sorry that this happened," and Finn goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry too." I'm like, "Oh,
that's it, dude." We all went, "Oh,
yeah, oh, he's sorry." But yeah, when Finn came out, it was so good, and I wondered because from your seat, Damian wasn't facing you; everything was away from you because Finn was at the ring, is at the ramp. From the cameras, and you should definitely see this one from this part. The anger and rage in Damian's eyes was insane. And the moment where he hulked out of the chokehold to literally choke Finn that gave me chills, man. It was crazy to see Damian do that. And it was so good.
Isn't it poetic that the last 2 world heavyweight champions have lost the championship because of trying to beat up somebody else?
Yeah. It reminds me of Game of Thrones, to be honest with you. It felt very Games of Thronesy, very Red Wedding type vibes from Finn. Like literally staring at his own brother being choked out in front of him type stuff, you know?
Great show.
And Finn, and great show. And Finn
Best
looked
show.
like
and I know great shows, let me tell you.
And Finn looked like a demon in the moment.
Yeah.
He turned into a demon. And I'm happy because as much as I enjoyed Judgment Day and their shenanigans, Finn Balor was definitely nerfing himself to fit in. He was downgrading. He was the Chris Bosh.
I'll just be really blunt. I'll be blunt for you. That
sure.
In the weeks leading up to SummerSlam, that was the weakest version of Finn Balor ever since he joined the main roster. That was the lowest on the totem pole that he's ever been.
Yes. And he is justified. And I love a good heel turn when it's justified. When you go, oh, I get it. Like, I get why Dom kisses Liv. I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
PlayStation 5, chicken nuggies, the man's winning. What are you gonna do? But I get why Finn did it because it was set up so well. It was talked so well. It was, Damon saying, "I'm a leader. You should follow me." It was Finn like, "Hey, let's go get our World Tag Team Champions back." And Damon's like, "No, I got other business." Damien like literally being grumpy and telling everyone to stick to their own business. What was it, a Backlash, where they stopped Jay and he was like pushing them off and things of that sort. So everything is justified. At the end of the day, it's clear to me that Damien's trying to be a face and they're trying to turn him face. And it works off. I mean, the first match from Monday Night Raw, JD versus Damien, I thought Damien worked really well as a face. There were some little wrinkles that he did that solidified his new position, where when he, JD is groggy, he goes like this to signify, "Oh, rise." Like, I kind of dug it.
Did you like his Dom Toretto look? It's all about family.
Dude, he cut it. He kept saying, "Jew don't know, Jew." He kept hitting those. Like he felt like he was more close to his New York self, and I love that.
I was gonna say that felt like New York Damien,
and that's what I've always wanted: less leather, more family.
Is that your motto in life? I'm always just looking for less leather and more family. This is too much leather.
Go back to that promo he did on Monday Night Raw. It just felt really good for him to be like, "I'm from the streets. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am." He just felt natural. It didn't feel like I'm a leader of a gang called Judgment Day.
How do you feel about Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest kind of being the
Terror Twins?
The Terror Twins and being the two out. Is this WWE basically telling you, "Hey, these are the two top people that we see coming out of this group, and now we're gonna push the living Christ out of them," or something?
I did feel like they were too chummy when Rhea first came back, and that was a good signal. But I don't know where they're gonna go because we have been conditioned that Rhea needs a romantic person to be with. She found it with Dominic. Will she find it with Damien? I don't think so. I don't think that's where we're gonna go.
I don't think so either.
I hope not. I like the idea they're just like a brother and sisterly type of vibe, and that they just work really well chemistry wise in that way. And I like that they hugged. Like they're like, "Yeah, we did it. We are together. I am with you. You're with me," type of vibe. But it's clear to me that they see more money with Rhea's face. At the end of the day, it's not about Damien being a face; it's about Rhea being a face.
I think you hit it on the head. I think it is the end game is Rhea Ripley, right? She is the 20-something-year-old. Damien is the 40-something-year-old. I feel like it's about building around Rhea Ripley because she is a talent that you can. She's a pillar of the WWE, in my opinion.
Yes.
She's a pillar that not only is important right now, but you can continue to build around for the next 10 plus years.
It's harder to find another Rhea than it is a Damien. You could find another Damien, sort of, but you find someone like Rhea, it's impossible. I would argue, though, another developing thing, part of that, the whole, Monday Night Raw probably deserves its own podcast, honestly. The implosion of Judgment Day and the chaotic nature of it, but I feel that new Judgment Day, whether it's Carlito, Finn, JD, Dominic, and Liv, they look pretty good, bro.
I loved it.
That picture goes hard.
I really, really liked it. I do hope that this is a group that actually has a definitive leader and not this like, "Oh, we're all leaders." Not this like, they're doing like a part-time, we change whoever is leading based on whoever is a world champion or whatever the heck. I don't want timeshares, okay? Just let Finn be the leader. Turn this into a Bullet Club.
I hope Liv doesn't get downgraded just because she's part of the Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. She needs to be able to hold her own too.
I think it's going that way, though. I think it's going that way. I think that she
really. That's a bummer.
Didn't you feel that in this episode of Raw that she wasn't?
She was just an arm candy. She was the basically the valet, which kind of sucked.
That's what I was feeling too.
And I was hoping that Rhea and Liv wouldn't cross swords at all. But when she got her hands on Liv and threw her into the ring post, and I was like, "Oh no!" And then Dominic comes out for the save, and I thought that's awesome. But either you're going to put her hands on her and put her through that table, but obviously that's going to be a bad blood situation.
Do we get this going all the way to War Games?
I think you go all the way to Mania.
Okay. I agree that Mania, there are particular
But you talking about
storylines.
like a Judgment Day War game?
I'm talking a Judgment Day War Games. It'd be unique.
No.
It'd be interesting to see if they'd be willing to do an intergender War Games, but I don't think that they would. And
It's because Bloodline eats up too much.
I would, yeah. I think I'm with you there. I think Bloodline War Games is probably the way to
Survivor
go.
Series, yes.
Just a regular Survivor Series match.
It's a regular Survivor Series 4-4.
Boo! Boo! Nobody likes those matches, Sancho. Boo!
Why not,
No
dude?
one likes those. Go back to
the
the 80s, you golden era, Mark. Nobody likes those. Go back to your Quebecers versus, the Mega Powers or wherever lame ass garbage you like from the 80s. Boo! Ooh, look at the aura of George the Animal Steel. What aura this guy has.
That's not what he does. Dude, he's one hairy dude, man.
You know what? I feel bad for St. George the Animal Steel. I actually really liked him. He was given all out for the character.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude would eat turnbuckles, man.
Yeah.
You would literally
Still
eat
boo.
that.
Boo.
Okay. You're treating me like Dominic. I can't even speak. Okay, on that note, we didn't really hit on it, but when he kissed Liv, I feel like I've never seen anyone get more heat in that moment for not wrestling. Does that make sense?
What do you call that, man? Is it like a deeper heel turn? Is it a heel jackhammer at that point? Like, you ain't even turning at that point. At this point, you're just drill, baby, drill.
It's a heel six.
Ooh.
Yeah, like the deep six where you throw.
Oh yeah,
around.
I feel you. Dude, the arena felt like it was like there were people gonna jump the barricade.
Really?
To try and kill Dominic Mysterio. There were so many people swearing, so many people saying just the most awful things to Dominic Mysterio. I thought it felt
6-year-old too, huh?
it felt, and I don't know if this translated on TV, it felt like a little bit of when John Cena made an entrance at ECW One Night Stand. When like everyone wanted to get his hands on him. That was a bit of the vibes that I was getting from our section of the crowd.
Didn't go one day without mentioning John Cena. One day. But I like Damien.
Did you guys get the John Cena commercial at home?
For the movie?
There was not for the movie. I think that your power's about to go out.
No. My little light went out.
Oh, buddy, I was like, the Wyatt Six is about to get him for the third time this podcast. He's just like, oh, we really did not like this Karrion Kross joke that he made.
Yeah. Look, they're here. The buzzards. Bray Wyatt's here.
Audio version. Sorry, you guys. Nothing. You guys ain't seen anything.
Oh god, now I look like I'm like deep state type vibes here.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about what did I see? I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about Dom. Everybody hating Dom.
We're talking about Dom. The heel turn. People wanted to jump him in the barricade, flipping him off.
Yeah, okay. I think there was something else, but it is what it is. It's a midnight podcast.
I think Finn's gonna be exciting. I hope Finn returns back to Bullet Club Finn.
There's nowhere to go but up for Finn, right? Like it can't get worse than where he was basically fodder. He was a red shirt for the Judgment Day. He was the fourth most important member behind Rhea, Damien, and even Dominic. And to a degree, even maybe Carlito for a bit. Carlito had more aura than Finn Balor. So I'm glad that they were able to rehab Finn Balor's image the way that they did with this heel turn. I'm very curious where it goes. If this is a mixed tag match situation for Bash in Berlin, I feel like that's an easy way to keep your finger on the pulse of the feud involving Rhea and Liv, as well as Finn and Damien, maybe Dom in there, without, giving us exactly what we want, which is Finn versus Damien. You can save that maybe for a little bit later, as well as the continuation of Liv versus Rhea, which I desperately hope that WWE gives them a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. Those two.
Oh my God.
I think it's warranted. I think that is where a
Yes.
Hell in a Cell match makes sense. Liv versus Rhea.
Do you think two things? One, I think Damien's gonna have to go through the entire Judgment Day. He's gonna have to go through Carlito. He's gonna have to go through Dom. He's gonna have to go all those mini bosses to get to Finn Balor. But do you think Rhea and Liv will take a page out of Tony and Mariah?
Ooh.
Because Tony and Mariah, for those that don't know in AEW, Mariah May literally took a heel and just got color. I don't know if the WWE is willing to get that brutal, but this feud does deserve some juice. One of them has to get bloody.
I think if they go Hell in a Cell, bad blood because of the name of the PLE, I feel like they would let one of those two get bloody.
What if they put like a PG-14, like before the whole thing started? Like that. It'd be justified. It'd be very justified.
And that one would feel earned, you know?
For sure.
I feel like that's the beauty of this, of SummerSlam. I feel like it set up a bunch of new feuds. It ended definitively some feuds, and it gave us cliffhangers on others to let us build further to get to bigger stakes. And I feel personally like the ending of Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley is one of those cliffhangers that allows us to build to bigger and badder things for their feud. And dude, it has to be Hell in a Cell. It has to be Hell in a Cell.
Well, that's what I enjoy. I think that's what, for me, if you were to ask me how do I grade a PLE, it's the launch pad. This is a monumental canon event, whatever you want to throw into it. This is a node in the timeline that we will all remember. I mean, we were waiting for the implosion of Judgment Day. We got that. And of course, I mean, we talked about Solo and Cody. We got the return of the tribal chief. I want to say this, though, as we're going to venture into this match. I truthfully did thought for a second I was getting Hogan Bash at the Beach vibes.
Oh, you thought he might come out and help Solo.
For a second. Because he didn't really run to the ring. He just walked to the ring. If you were to put Hogan walking to the ring and Roman walking to the ring, it had the same kind of demeanor. It was very stoic walking towards the ring. Now, I know, sure, Solo said heinous things about him. He took out Jimmy, took out the wise man. He took the tribal chief without, taking it from Roman. Sure. I get all that. But in my back of my mind, I was like, you don't turn your back on family. And no matter what family does, family squabbles, families, whatever. But at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water. And I thought in my mind, I was like, there's no way Roman would help Cody. It blows my mind that he actually did.
I think I was with you. Remember in the last podcast, you said that Roman's turn or return and attacking Solo would just hit harder if Solo was the champion. That's where I think it would have made a lot more sense if he came out and attacked Solo. Because I'm with you. I'm a little bit conflicted that he allowed the guy that splintered his family in the first place, because the family would be together still being led by Roman Reigns if it wasn't for Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
It feels a little bit odd to me from a story standpoint for him to, yes, of course, Solo deserves it, but it feels a little bit odd that Cody wouldn't catch some as well.
Right.
So I'm with you there. I'm with you.
I thought Roman would be the equalizer. Like he would knock Solo and Cody out and then let Cody do his thing. Or, like as I said, it would be him coming out to challenge Solo after him winning the belt. And sure, and I think I'm guilty of this the most, and I think most content creators are when it comes to figuring out the world of WWE, is we like to be a little bit too wild, especially myself. But sometimes it's just as simple as 1 + 2, right? In this equation. Solo said bad things about Roman. Roman did not like that, and he took out Solo, basically. Took out the wise man.
The wise man, yeah, that's the big one, I think.
So, like, I don't know. But that's what I got. I had that notion, like, the bash at the beach, because the commentators didn't really seem like he's coming after you, Solo, type of thing. You better run. He was just like, he's back. Roman's back. And I kind of wish he did take a moment in the ring to let me go, what is he gonna do?
If he was like in between them, and then he decides who to Superman punch. Ooh,
right.
that would have been sick.
Yeah, just milk it just a little bit more, versus, I mean, that ooh-ah was the loudest ooh-ah. You probably, did that shake your
brother?
Your
I was ooh-ahing to another dimension. I'm over here with my 7 cameras going, ooh-ah.
Oh, man, ooh-ah. You ever
You can picture me with the cameras too.
Yeah, I can picture the cameras, but you ever make a noise where like something inside you lifts? Like
no.
inside, like it goes like that. Like, wow.
Show me a little bit more hand gestures with it.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh, ah. No, Sancho, I think that might just be a you thing.
Nah, brother. There's thousands of people in that Cleveland.
Wait,
stadium.
so what sounds move your insides?
Are you recording me? Because you got a Steam Deck, like you wanted to do like a sound. You play it back in my ear. It's just like a guttural ooh-ah, dude.
No, I feel you.
But yeah, that you're like, yeah. I just was, again, very being nitpicky, and it's kind of stupid to say, but I thought that there'd be a moment of him just sitting there and like, what am I going to do, or who am I going to take? I'm conflicted here because I don't want to help my enemy, but this guy, you know what I mean? Like,
if they wanted to be poetic with it, right? Remember how the first Bloodline Rules ended with him between Cody and Seth with the chair. They could have had that moment again, but now with Cody and Solo, making us wonder who he's actually going to attack.
Ooh. I'm going to plug in my computer, and if the power goes out, I swear to God, you're going to take me. But that's my thoughts. I thought, it's wild to think that Roman Reigns, a man that the WWE, the former regime, tried to make him the biggest face in the company, failed to do so, and Triple H did it without him being on TV.
What are your thoughts on the top babyface in the company? It's not Cody anymore, right? It's Roman.
Honestly, brother, it never was Cody.
Who did you think it was, if not Cody?
It was Roman. Like, Roman, the people
going into WrestleMania 40, it was Cody. So it was Cody at one point. I get what you're saying.
It was LA Knight.
No, it wasn't. It was Xavier Woods, and he's the hero of the feud against Karrion Kross.
Up, down, dude. One of the biggest channels on YouTube.
That's fair. So I do think that there is a bit of a disservice to this feud as a whole, as it was built around the prospect of a guy that wasn't in the feud coming back in Roman Reigns, which I think by default just sort of made everything that happened leading up to it boring. The Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, like the match is just like, fellas, let's get to it. Because we're here for the tribal chief. Let's get to the next point, all right? Let's get past the groggy beginning and just give me my big dog.
I know I was being a oafish when I said about Cody not being the face. Yes, he was the biggest face. But it does say a lot that Roman is now the hottest toy that we all want to know. What's he going to do, brother? What's he going to do on SmackDown? Hopefully he gets to be around longer. But it just shows you how, when done organically, you could get the result you want, and it's going to be more amplified. Because remember, Roman was champion. Roman had it all. They gave him the keys to the entire building, and then we did not want to see him. We were like, ew, go away. You're just like, you're winning everything, and it's not justified. I still remember cheering for Randy Orton beating him in the San Antonio Royal Rumble. Everyone was ecstatic. They're like, thank God, not Roman. And I wonder if, this might be weird to say, it is late night, but is Cody encroaching those things? Is Cody encroaching, like, come on, dude, the whole thing about him being in the bus, him walking out of the bus, him hanging out with Pharaoh, him hanging out with Arn, him hanging out with Brandy's mom, and I'm just sitting there like, all this for Solo? I was like, all this for Solo? It's not Randy he's going up against, because it would make more sense if he was going up against Randy Orton, his own brother. You had this long-winded entrance, this dramatic entrance, but it just feels like, to me, it was too much, because They did it with Sammy. You remember when Sammy had that entrance? He said, so they wanted to give that to Cody, but it didn't ring true because it's Solo. You know, the opponent needs to match the entrance in my mind.
And Solo never did it for you.
It wasn't that he never did it for me. It was just there was a lot of shenanigans for Tribal Chief Solo. And God bless you, Tongaloa. And you missed the buckle by a mile.
I didn't see that in person. I didn't notice it.
But
yeah, the replay, that's funny.
I'm like, let's give the man. Why give him one eye when he needs two? You know. But it's. I think that's what hurt Solo the most was that it took a long time to materialize, and I think if they would have got rid of Paul Heyman sooner than later, it would have made Solo's run a little bit. It would have gathered more steam to do more things besides like I said, the last card was Paul Heyman.
And
but that's it. That was a good SummerSlam.
It was. I thought it was a fantastic SummerSlam. It's funny because I came out of it thinking I think that might have been the best SummerSlam I've ever seen.
92, brother. Google it.
And 92, yeah. And then, but then I saw the online reaction that was similar, and I was like, ooh, okay. Because I've come out of shows where, like, for example, like I've watched it at home and said, "Wow, that crowd sucked," and then people in the comments will be like, "Well, actually, I was there.
Really good, right?
We were actually really good.
My section was really loud."
Yeah, dude, I hear that all the time, and I was nervous that I was gonna become that person. So it was nice to see that my thoughts were justified, that was indeed one of the best SummerSlams ever. I think it's the best SummerSlam that I've ever seen, at the very least the most complete SummerSlam that I've ever seen. There's not a single SummerSlam in the 2010s that comes close to it because it's so full. So many SummerSlams are full of just fodder that Sancho just wants to book and throw in there with, hey, here, take this 3-minute, garbage ass match.
Hey, Peter, take this match. You know what a good sign that SummerSlam was good? It literally has taken like an hour and a half of this conversation. Most PLEs that we cover, we kind of just go match by match, but there's just so much to pull from the results of that. And you can see it in Monday Night Raw, because we're recording this literally right after Monday Night Raw. Everything was exciting to watch. Everything was like, I want to see the fallout, and even it's going to carry to SmackDown. But man, everything was fantastic. Are you good? I'm good with SummerSlam. I want to focus. I think we don't have time for much here because I don't even know where we are because I don't have my timer.
We're about an hour and 40 deep. It's all right. Yeah, let's talk about Raw. Let's talk about Raw and what we saw.
Let's talk about Raw.
Wait. Before we do,
yes.
Bloodline Tag Champions.
Oh God! Don't get me started, dude.
How do we feel about that?
I was so disappointed because, and I said this in the SmackDown review on Patreon, and that's the place to be for like immediate results. Because I know sometimes when we do these podcasts, if you're not on Patreon, we're literally recording this the next day after SummerSlam, and you're going to get it on Friday. So when I saw that on SmackDown, I was like, poor DIY. They're not going to be anywhere close to tag team belts again. It's a situation where, are they buried? No. But their aspirations to being a champion are going to take forever to get there. They're going to take for a long time to build back up because they're not going to get rid of the belt off Jacob Fatu. It's impossible unless they build up this angle that he's hurt. He's limited. Like basically Jacob Fatu is too OP and they balance patch them and they hobbled them with one leg. So my thoughts are, why take the belts off of DIY after 2 weeks of having them where they win them on this very historic main event type of vibe? Take them off the belt and not have Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga come out with the belts of Solo at SummerSlam. That's to me, because I thought if they give the Bloodline the belts before SummerSlam, it's because they want to use it as a prop to when Solo comes out, he looks dominant because his faction's dripping in gold. But they weren't even there. And at least have them come out draped in gold and then walk to the back.
I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's a fair ask or a fair expectation that, like, if you gave them the gold, like, parade with the gold then,
Yeah.
Because I was fine with the booking decision to have DIY lose because
really?
I felt like this Bloodline needed justification that it's getting on par with the previous Bloodline. On top of that, really, when I look at DIY, it's like, okay, if they stayed champions, what do? They
wrestle other tag teams like Pretty Deadly.
But they've not been used as such. They literally hadn't appeared on TV as a tag team since winning the darn things. And that's not DIY's problem. Clearly, there is just no good vision at the moment for the tag team division. And if there isn't, why have the titles on a tag team that you're just not going to use because they haven't been using them? The solution, of course, Sancho, is use them. But like I'm just looking at the real situation that we were in, that they weren't using them. They weren't appearing at all on any show after they won the tag title, Sancho. So if you were gonna not use them, you might as well use the tag title somewhere else where you can elevate a storyline. I don't love that. I really don't. The solution is use DIY and use the tag division, but they clearly weren't going in that route.
It's just, and those are Triple H's boys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the same thing. They gave them their most fire intro that they ever had in their careers. I'm Tommaso Ciampa, the Blackheart, and you're like, oh yeah, you are, yeah, you are. And I'm Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling. You're like, yeah,
you are.
You kiss your wife, you kiss your baby, you walk into the ring, and we are DIY, and then we are. I was like, okay, I'm in. This theme makes sense, and they're going to go to battle with the Bloodline. It's an opportunity missed. Let's just say that it's an opportunity to miss to build a DIY to be the next FTR, to be the next Revival, to be the next Usos.
Okay.
Because now they're never gonna be one of those guys that, yeah, man, these guys are tag team champions. These guys held the belt for so long, and they fought tooth and nail to Bloodline, and they lost. At least give them multiple matches where maybe a DQ happens, Jacob Fatu goes too crazy, and then DIY, keeps winning by default, and then eventually Bloodline wins. But it's a shame, dude, because those guys, Tommaso and Johnny, they know how to go. And it's just another good brother situation, man.
All right, I think we do differ a little bit there, but let's talk.
You're not down on them on that? You don't think it's not over for DIY?
I think it's over for DIY. I don't. At least for. They're not the ones beating the Bloodline. They're not. And
it should be, though.
And I'm concerned that the tag titles on SmackDown, now that they're on the Bloodline, are gonna go down the route of let's put these now on two guys that come together that aren't actually a proper tag team that will take the titles off the Bloodline. I know we're hearing the rumors of a trade of of Jey Uso and Sami Zayn going there. Two guys whose end game is to be single stars will just get put as a tag team just for the sake of having the tag titles for a little while, which is what they did for.
It does feel different, though.
Okay.
Sammy and Jay are not. Yes, they're singles, but they're Bloodline.
Yeah, sure. There's reason, but again, those two guys, if they were to be added to the title picture, they don't fix the inherent problem. They don't fix the long-term tail of the problem, which is
it would be like Cody and Jay winning.
Yeah, it's a poorly booked tag team division. That's what it is. That's the long tail problem of it. Raw.
Do we combine them again?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
So wait, what about the Raw? What about the Raw tag team champions? Are they in a better place?
No, because it could also be Jay and Sammy. I don't even know where things are going with them. The tag team wrestling right now as a whole is something that the WWE is struggling to make. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Not tag team wrestling. The tag team division is something that the WWE is struggling to book.
So as we transition, does American Made help that? Does the Wyatt 6 help that?
I think it does by default. It's just that when you look at a lot of the tag teams that are on Raw and SmackDown, a lot of them weirdly have other motivations beyond the tag titles.
Mm.
Right? Like you've got AOP. Like why wouldn't AOP want to go for the tag titles? Why would they want to be stuck dealing with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods? Why would Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston not want to go after the tag titles? That's weird to me. You know, why is Pretty Deadly so much more focused on the Pretty Deadly play than they are going after tag titles? There's just the motivations around the tag teams in the tag team division are not driven by glory and gold and being champions.
Dude, but it's not as bad as it seems. I mean, they're formidable tag teams, but they're not like what was the Caribbean people that were talking about come on by, enjoy the island of Puerto
my
Rico?
God, Los Primos. Primo and Epico. Yes.
Or whatever.
Yes. Primo and Epico, the Primo
That
brothers.
was bad.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We're not in that territory.
That's
we have
fair.
Talent.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah. So, you know, when I hear people online being like, well, let's just add the Motor City Machine Guns to this, or let's sign the Revival.
FTR,
the problem isn't talent. The talent is there. The problem is just the booking of the actual division. You could add the Hardys to this if you want. You could add more talent and it doesn't fix the issue going on.
May I approach the bench, Your Honor?
Please.
Do you feel it's because the lack of appearances on PLEs have hurt the tag team division because of your lack of quantity of matches on a card, Your Honor?
Are you trying to hit me with the I do declare?
I do declare. Now, maybe if I say it in this southern accent, people will be so upset, but
no.
If you had more matches on a card, perhaps the PLE can help with the tag team division now.
No, because it's not the job of the PLE to help the tag team division. It's the job of Raw and SmackDown to give us a good enough tag team division to appear on PLEs. We're not going down this path again, Sancho.
Now, Your Honor, please do not get upset. Again, if I talk like this, maybe you understand. But should a DIY versus Bloodline be on SummerSlam?
I would have liked it to be on SummerSlam. Yeah, I'm not like. What do you feel like these are some gotcha moments? They're not. These are not gotcha moments.
I don't know. Seems to be, Your Honor. Seems to be. I want to make a whole lot of people mad in the comments today.
Oh, yeah, you should probably ask a man about his liquor before you drink it.
My favorite line is when he was like, I was born ready.
I know we're like 2 hours deep in now, but like I love the line where Deadpool like it's just like, who was your speech coach?
Who's your dialect coach?
The Minions?
Because this is a very important exposition here. Who's your dialect coach?
I love that line.
Please watch that movie. It's a good movie. We didn't spoil it. Trust.
Better go watch it and you're going to really enjoy it.
If you haven't seen it by now, it's because you didn't want to see it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree.
So if you are a big...
You know what? We're going to spoil every cameo. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
If you're on the outside looking in, it's worth seeing. Can I tell you a weird side story?
Yeah.
So I'm in LA. I go see the movie Twisters. Great movie. Glenn Powell about tornadoes. And behind me, there's a couple. And they are, you know, a little obnoxious and annoying, but not that bad. But during the ending part, when the last tornado's hitting, the lady behind me is taking selfies with a flash on. And I'm thinking it's lightning from the movie. That's how many pictures she's taking. But she's not. She's laying down, trying to take a selfie with people in the tornado sucking up. And she's trying to capture that moment, and she keeps failing. And she doesn't understand the flash makes the screen go blank because of the flash.
Did you say anything?
No.
Okay, this is where you need a Karen. Sarah, my girlfriend, dude, she makes me uncomfortable with how often she'll call people out in the theater. People will be on their
phone. You're a big dude.
I don't like calling people out for things like that. She'll see somebody on her phone. She'll be like, "Excuse me, can you please get off your phone? The movie's on." Or can you, or like,
dude,
can you, dude, I can't do it either. And I'm a big dude. I shouldn't be scared of those engagements. But this is where she comes in and makes the movie experience so much better for everybody because you need a Karen sometimes.
I know what it is. You're afraid because one, it's in the dark. Dude, you don't know what they have on them. They don't
true.
check for weapons in those things.
That's facts. That's facts.
Facts,
Yes.
dude.
Facts on facts.
You don't the classic, but yeah. But isn't it bizarre? LA's weird, bro. LA's weird.
A lot of cloud
gone,
chasing.
I lived here for 15 years, being gone, coming back for 2 weeks for this vacation. LA is weird. But speaking of weird, White 6, they made their debut.
Great transition.
They're here. Thank you. Again, this is a safe place. I feel.
Hang on.
Wait,
hang on.
Wait,
Every time you say this is a safe place, you come and spew some garbage.
I
Every
don't.
time.
I'm glad you're calling me out on it. I want this. Okay. This is a safe place, but I'm open to tell me that I'm wrong. Okay. Because people can come and say,
all right.
Look, him out.
I'm open to hearing your opinion.
Thank you.
Go.
Thank you. I feel that the Wyatt 6, oh God, I could feel your eyes. I feel that the Wyatt 6 are not a home run yet. I feel that they're hitting a single and double. In their first in-ring debut, it was a double. It wasn't a home run. It wasn't a grand slam. It was just a solid double. It was a good introduction to them. Their introduction, the ring entrance was cool. Their match flow was cool. The fact that Dexter Lumis is a high flyer is insane to me because he never left his feet, I feel, at NXT. And he looks small compared to everybody that he's with. It's just a solid, it was a solid debut. It wasn't mind-blowing to me. I feel the reverence of Bray because they use his music. They have the chair, the same entrance. They have all those makings of it. But I think the reason why it was only a double versus a home run is Bo Dallas to Russell tonight.
I think that's it, right? It's not a home run until Bo Dallas gets in there, and I think for me this match worked in terms of wanting more of this, but wanting to see more Bo Dallas specifically. And I think
why put Chad in that match? Just make it a tag team match.
Yeah, fair enough. It wasn't Chad that. Wait, was it Chad that took the pin? I don't even remember now. I don't think that it was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. Okay, but here's my question to you.
What is your question?
Would you actually have Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods over this as a feud?
What do you mean?
In terms of, is Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross more of a home run than what's going on right now with the Creed's new American Made versus Wyatt 6?
Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods are hitting the small ball. All right, they're hitting singles.
They're bunts.
It's going to add up.
Foul balls.
It's going to add up. Okay?
Bro, they're not even playing baseball. They're out there playing badminton.
It is a no hitter.
It is
singles
awful. It's 3 strikeouts.
Look, they're gonna find their moment, like at the League of Their Own.
It's a hit by pitch.
They're going to find their. What was her name?
They got caught cheating by like the Astros.
God, it's gonna bother me. What was her name? Gina Davis' name in League of Their Own.
I don't even know what you're trying to reference.
They're gonna find their stride. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying Wyatt 6 is built up to be that home run dinger, dude. It was supposed to be a home run machine, and I feel that their debut wasn't a home run because it didn't have Bo.
Do you think?
I'm willing to accept that I'm the problem.
I think you're the problem. I think it was.
I'm willing to accept it.
Yeah,
I'm willing to accept it.
I think it's borderline unfair to say it's not a home run when they didn't even bring out their major league team. You know, sure. They obviously, like everyone else is out there, but like that's like I feel like obviously this is an extreme example, but that's like saying Bloodline if it's just Jimmy, Jay, and Sami Zayn isn't doing it for me because Roman Reigns wasn't out there. Well, duh. Obviously, like Roman Reigns is obviously like the anchor holding all of this together and the thing that you want to see. So to say that to say that the Wyatt 6 isn't hitting a home run for you, it's like, well, yeah, dude, they didn't bring out their home run slugger. Obviously, duh.
Yeah, he was sitting on the sidelines.
But dude, I love the aura of him sitting on the sideline. The laughing alongside the witch.
I needed more. I needed more of it.
Okay.
I need a little bit more. Look. I'm admitting, everybody, I am as in a minority here.
Can I say where they're actually only hitting singles and not home runs is? The exposition tapes of everyone not named Rowan or Bo Dallas. They're the only two that got good tapes. I really felt like Mercy the Buzzard or Dexter Loomis and Huskus, aka Gacy, they didn't really get any exposition.
And Nikki.
Because
there's no soul behind it.
No. I feel like the Rowan one that pulled the heartstrings.
That had soul. That was like an HBO show, and the other ones were like pretending to be an HBO show. But like I said, like I just felt like I want to like it, and I think a big reason part of it as well is like I'm in a. This is where I watched it, dude. Like it's not
your power going out every 10 minutes.
Power going out every 10 minutes. It feels like no, it just felt like I wasn't feeling it as much as I want. I want to feel it. Does that make sense? Like I want to. I want to be in it. I want to, but I'm not like drawn to it. And you can make your argument like this guy is not drawn to White Chicks, but he loves Karrion Kross. It's different because I feel that Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods is building up to something with the collapse of New Day. Because even when Odyssey Jones came out, Xavier was like, "Oh, cool, you didn't tell me about it," type of thing. It's going somewhere.
Yo, where has Odyssey Jones been this whole time? Why were they hiding him? He was awesome in his debut because he got called up 2 years ago, bro. It's been 2 years since he got drafted to Raw from NXT.
It just needed Kofi Kingston to go down to the Performance Center while he's hurt and rehabbing.
I guess so.
Dude, that was kind of cool though. The Sidewalk Power Slam.
Both of them up. That was wicked. I loved it. Odyssey Jones. He's now on. He's on my radar.
But you're not allowed on the train.
I'm not allowed. I don't want to be on the train.
There's a picture of you on the train thing. Do not let this.
man
on the bandwagon,
bro. I won't be getting on anytime soon. Don't you worry. I don't need any tickets to that.
Can I get your thoughts on the Wyatt Six debut beyond like, what about their performance?
I thought their performance was really, really good. I think we are in different boats here. I love the presentation and the entrance. I think that the match was really good. If anything, I felt like the underperformers in this were actually the Creeds. They
had no choice. They had no choice.
I would have liked to see more from them, but I do think that you're right to a degree. There's a bit of handcuffing going on.
For sure, dude. You can't have those dudes show out. Did you have picture in picture?
No.
Okay, that's where they did all their heel work. It was in the picture in picture. And I was like, so that's where the magic started to wane off. I was like, oh man, Joe Gacy's selling this hold. Like, you know what I mean? He's not like relishing it. He's not like, being this whole type of thing because he's built as this guy who's a little bit off. And that's what I was expecting. Instead, I'm seeing standard selling from the Wyatt Six.
I think you need to get that mentality out of your head.
I know. But the tapes.
I get it. I get it that like they almost set an expectation that they wouldn't be, regular wrestlers, but like they are. So I think for you to be able to fully enjoy what's going on, I think that you need to get that out of your head. Otherwise, you're just going to constantly be like, well, really? Why are you... why'd you get pinned? That's weird. It's like, yeah, but that's wrestling, bro. People get pinned. People lose. But but I get it. I get your mentality where there's almost like a higher standard that you want to hold them to, almost like a non-human standard. But I think
it's because Bray's different, and that's what I'm expecting.
But Bray would lose. Bray would sell holds.
But Bray would do it different, though. He was different. You would be like, man, this guy everyone has to sell and everyone has to get pinned, but it's how you get pinned. That's what makes you special. What makes Hogan special?
You didn't think it was special when Rowan did the yeah.
That was special. That was different. That was different. But it's just the I don't know, man. It kind of reminds me of Mankind. When Mankind sold, it was different. He was off. He was different. He was a boiler room rat. But when he sold, you thought like, dude, this guy might actually like it. And I'm thinking that's what the Wyatt Six is going for some of their characters. Maybe not Eric Warren. And then and then you're thinking like they're looking like dirty wrestlers, like it's just their attire, but it's not like Luke Harper's sweaty muscle tee, right?
Mm-hmm.
The little details just makes it a little bit different.
Okay.
I'm okay that I'm wrong.
Yeah, you might not be wrong. I want to be right. We just differ, I think. We just differ.
I want to be right. I want to be on your side. I want to be on your side. That's all.
You want to be on the right side. On the best side. The best side. I know lots about sides.
Do you feel that the Creed brothers was still the right choice with Alpha Academy to be the first victims? Because a squash match would have been different, you know?
I don't know. I feel like I need to see this out a little bit longer. I almost feel like I want to say no as a first victims. I almost feel like Wyatt 6 might be 3 months too early. And the right people they should be going after is Judgment Day. Once the smoke starts to settle on everything going on with the Judgment Day, and it's like you guys did the betrayal of all betrayals to your family.
So right.
You, Dominic Mysterio, turned on your dad, and you turned on your mommy. You, Finn Balor, you turned on your brother.
You, Damian, you turned on your Judgment Day for gold.
Man, I feel like that would have been the right faction to debut against. So we're half a year maybe too early. But again, that's the power of hindsight, where you can start to connect these things that would just make things so much better with how great SummerSlam went, in the direction that SummerSlam went in on a Wyatt 6 feud against this Finn Balor Judgment Day. Slaps, bro. Or them not even picking sides, going after Finn Balor's Judgment Day while also simultaneously going after Damian Priest as well.
I hate that you're so right. It's so perfect. They still have time though. That could be their next thing.
It could still happen, but
it could still happen.
But cat's out of the bag. It's the huzzah is not there anymore. It can't be there anymore.
The sound you make when you say surprise. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
I no, dude. Oh, and knowing that knowing that Dominic Mysterio just does not like scary things is even better. You remember? I think I saw you watching it.
The haunted house. It's so funny, dude.
So
oh my
funny.
God, interactions of Dominic backstage with the Wyatt Six. I think Chad Gable is fantastic as well. But now picture all of those moments that we've had with Chad Gable, and now just switch Dominic in there. It's better.
100%.
It's better.
Oh, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel so good.
But it will get there eventually. It has to. We have to get there. They're on the same brand, and they're going after people that turn on family. Yes.
Now, do you think the Wyatt Six
Oh my God.
could put up a fight against the Bloodline?
Oh, I thought you were going to say that the Wyatt Six versus the Creed should have been on the PLE. I thought, oh man, the Southern lawyer is back.
No.
I think the Bloodline, it has to. You can't.
I'm talking about wrestling wise, in terms of like styles. I'm talking about
anything works with the blood. You can make it work. You can make it work.
Solo Sikoa versus Eric Rowan.
We can make it work. We can make it something that we want to see.
Would you lose it when Bo Dallas goes up against Roman Reigns?
Not as much as I would lose it once he steps up to Randy Orton.
Bo Dallas?
Yeah, because I mean Randy Orton and Bray
Oh,
Wyatt
and it
had
burned
that
down, burned down the
feud,
house.
burning down the
Yeah.
house, all that stuff.
But remember, Roman and Bray were teammates.
Oh,
Remember that? The
yeah,
classic.
that one, yeah,
He pointed the finger.
yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, there's
That
just
was
dude,
cool.
that's the thing, right? There's so many people that we can still,
So many people.
lots of people. Let me tell you about these people.
Do you think? Last thing, I guess, because we're winding down here. Do you think that the Hardy Boys will fit in any way? I hope we don't get another compound with the Wyatt Six. I think that well is dried up, and I like the Hardy Boys, and I think they do have a place in WWE because they're legends. But I don't think they should be in the ring. They should be like producers and things of that sort, because the Hardy Boys could actually help out the tag team division as producers and maybe as bookers to help to be in Triple H's ear, because they
Sure.
know tag team wrestling.
Sure. I mean, you could also use them to develop the next generation of tag teams and have them be down in NXT and play a Sean Spears role where they're kind of, both mentor, but also in ring and on screen talent.
Aren't they kind of doing that in AEW though?
TNA.
Weren't they? Remember when they did that in AEW though?
Yeah. Perhaps. I think you might be onto something as producers.
Whoa! Put down the tree trunk. Oh my God, no!
Dude, the amount of people that were like, "Man, you're so much bigger than I thought." I was like, "Haven't you heard the freaking podcast yet?" And Sancho has warned you that I'm a gorilla. Yeah, he warned all of you that I am a silverback.
I'm like the dad in Beauty and the Beast. There's a beast in the castle. He's there. He has my daughter. That's you, dude. Okay, where are we going? All right, I think we're ready to land.
I think we're ready to bring this.
I think we talked about everything we can. Jacob Fatu not really hurt. Come on, guys. How else are they going to keep Roman and Jacob Fatu out of the way? Come on.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want to use the Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns.
That's like a genie wish.
Yeah, you don't want that yet. You don't want it yet.
No.
You might think you want it, but you don't want it yet.
You don't want it yet, because then you're going to be like, Jacob Fatu's too OP. And he's not, I don't think he's ready.
All right, let's bring it home. No new heat order this week. This is next week. Are you back in your office next week?
I hope so, for the love of God. This was up. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. This green background does nothing to my complexion. This camera is awful. It's the worst. And thankfully I have this microphone so it doesn't sound like cheeks.
Oh, well, folks.
I'm using the flashlight to my phone right now. Okay? This is how much I care about Wrestling is Cool. I'm doing this on my vacation.
Can't stop, won't stop. And if you want to make sure that we don't stop, make sure to support over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Once again, you get the podcast 3 days early. You get 5 episodes of the Wrestling is Cool Match Club. You get the Raw reviews, you get the SmackDown reviews, and more. Sancho, before we call it a night, anything else that you're working on?
I want to thank the people that came by the SummerSlam. I know they were like looking for a home because you were not there, and they came over to mine, and that was really nice. It was the biggest watch party I've had for a PLE. I think it was like 100 or 180 people, close to 200. It was very awesome. Thank you so much. I want to announce this now. If you made it to this point of the podcast, you are a fan. If you have any inkling or experience of being a clip editor or anything of that sort, social media producer, we are looking for a podcast producer. It's on my Twitter right now for the things that we're looking for. If you want to get in the business of podcasting, you want to get in this business, you want to jump on this train, because we need help. We need help because we are growing at a fast rate. And if you want to be a part of that, you have experience in what we're looking for, please do. I could tell you now, I heavily am interested and invested in the clip that you produce based on our content, because that's what we're looking for the most. Not on what you did in the past. Sure, that solidifies your experience, but I want to know what can you do with us. That's the most important thing to me. And if you don't have experience and you're like, well, I don't have an experience, submit something. Submit something, because then I could still gauge. We are very, very interested, because as Santi says numerous times at the very beginning of the show, this is big. This fan swelling that we have on this Patreon is awesome, and it's a sign of your that you want this kind of content, and we're providing it, and we're doing all that we can to provide it to you. That's why I'm saying I'm on vacation, and I'm still here, give you 2-hour podcast, because we want to continue your support, and we're gonna have an IRL event soon. That's gonna happen right around the corner. But in the meantime, we want to grow this podcast, and we need your help. On my Twitter, Sancho West, it's there.
All right, folks, and thank you. A special thank you goes out to our $15 patron, Sancho. They're the ones that are going above and beyond. And did you know that there's a fight going on right now with this? It's like a huge thing. People are trying to desperately become the first one that I name out. So everyone's trying to game the system by putting numbers and putting exclamation marks. So here we go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Shout out to !0. I will not let that guy be read first. Mahahaha. Thank you to _123. Hey Santi, aka Hawaiian Rick Boogs, aka Lord BBNJ. 0000 FU Santi, I'm first now. Nick Harvey, you idiot, you're third. Don't you feel dumb? Don't you feel worthless? You screwed it up, you buffoon. 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, AC Big Mac, Adam McLeod, Adrian Jones, Adrian Liu, Akira Kemp, Alex Ragel, Alan Crockett, an innocent family of 4 that watches Santi oil up, Andy Taylor, Anita Maxwin, Asperlitz, Aussie Kingslayer, Austin Weaver, author Ellen Wittenhagen, B Nation Betancourt, Bard Rushton, Ben Calloway, Ben Davis, Ben Not Ben, B Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, BK Sochil, Blake Kimball, Blake, Brady Keaton, Brandon Cannell, Brandon Shire, Braden, Brian, Bryce Burt, Buxo, Caleb Owens, Call Sign Caveman, Callum Wood, Cameron Noel, Carter CB, Chew Poppy, Chickpea Bean, Christian Billick, Christian Ortega, Cody Cook, Page 2 Sancho, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Crunchy Tomato, Danny the Chat GF, Dar, DJ Broadnax, DJ S, Drama Llama Ding Dong, Drew Ashford, Dumsky, Dylan Harris, Ethan, Isatch, Drew Peacock, Fish Reel, Fletcher Walpole, Forever Wrestling, Gamerscape, Garrett Coons, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, Goated Sean, GXA Man, Harley McClure, Hassan Aziz, Hayden Thornton, Heigl Svenier Holderson, Issa David, It's Mista, I'm Gonna Nut in Santi's Protein Shake, Jackson Connolly, Jacob Penna, Jacob Seffel, James Abel, James Brian Belugo, Jassim Alcazar, Javier Arenas, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Gene, Jennifer Johnson, Jennifer C. Moreau, Joe Velez, John Cena, John Diagidio,
John Cena,
Jonah, Jonathan Daly, Jordan Lynch, Page 3 Sancho, Jorge Caballero, Joshua Warwick, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Juice Man Jeremy, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Kentarius Jackson, Ken Dean, Kiss.
You know where that's from, right?
I do. I'm aware of Kentarius Jackson, yes. Kisa, Lil Shifu, Liz, Mako Mac Gaming, Malik Graham, Manly Man, Manu, Manuel Marufo, Marcos Gonzalez, Mason Kirk, Mason Lott, Michael Dean, Michael Glass, Michael Walter, Mohammed Akram Al-Madawi, Mohammed Al-Banai, Monte Moore, Mountain Paws, Mabusher Khan, My Name is Santi and Milwaukee is my favorite city, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Nighthawk, Papaya King, Patrick Grapaldi, Pishamania, Phoenix, Prince Vegeta, Reagan, Reaper God, Reese Dowd, Ricky Dutcher, Roberto Dickbutt, Rocky B, Rodolfo Reyes, Roey Levy, Ryan Williams, Riley, Sancho Mania will run wild, Santi Zap Stinky Toes, Saudi Rick Boogs, Page 4 Sancho, Scream Scott, Serenity, Shane, Sherry, Silver Football, Solo So Fat We Should Call Him Duo, Spencer Chernarts, Squishy. Want me to read it again?
That's so messed up. So fat. We should call him Duo. Jeez. That's messed up.
Star Wars lovers, Stephen Rhodes, Stephen Amay, Stucky, Sullivan Mayer, Super Malachi Galaxy, Talmadge McGooliger, Tanisha Jones. I'm sorry, if your last name is actually McGooliger, I should have laughed. Tanisha Jones, the Gaming Freak YouTube, the B Meister, the Joe Man, the McBro, TM, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trent Head, Two Crown, Walker, Wesley Simpson, Wick One, Zan Frank, Javier Izquierdo, Yao Parda, Zapola, and Zerg Zito. Woo, brother.
I want people to be the last one now. Who's gonna be the last one next time? Dude, you think Patreon goes like, who are these people?
I don't think they care.
Who are these people? Are they real?
That's a good Jerry Seinfeld.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye, everybody.